Yeah, so I put that link there, Botanic Gardens plant selector. Fairly simple tool to use. Has anybody got any questions about it? Found any issues, quirks, gremlins? No.
Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. But it enables some cool stuff. Like you can, well, let's put in a postcode here. That's so 5,000. Keep it relevant. And then we can start a search. We can create a list of plants, so you can create your own list, and then once we've created that list, it has those little circular swatches of the plants in your list there as well, and the species name. Fantastic thing to just cut and pop into your Revit drawings there as well. So hey, this is the plant, and this is what it looks like. You can also get other larger swatches or tiles showing those plants as well, to make that a little bit larger and clearer if you wish. But it gives you that very simple, succinct list. Also, well, let's say we've just chosen all the plants. We can also export that data to an Excel spreadsheet as well. So what we've done is, let's say normally we'd put in a whole heap of search criteria. You'd put in our foliage colour. We're thinking, okay, we want blue greys. We want multiple trunks. We want height at maximum 7 meters. All these things. We might think about, these are the things that we want on our plants. Put in all that search criteria. This would be much smaller than 1,541 plants. But we get that list, and then you can keep that Excel list as well to say, okay, we're going with this, X many of this, X many of this, etc. So there's several different outputs you can use with it. So got allow. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have done it for 1,500 plants. It might take a little while. We'll see. No, it doesn't take long. Okay. So yeah, you get that Excel spreadsheet in there as well that you can use and order, etc. as you wish as well. Probably not all that pertinent for our project. What you'll be more like what you'd be doing is you'd be thinking about, these are the heights of plants I want, this is the shape I want, these are the colours I want them to be native and water efficient. I want them to be evergreen or deciduous. So you think about the characteristics of the plants you want, and then you go doing several different searches and compiling your list as you go. You make up your plant list, and then you've got that list there to go straight into your Revit model. Some of the things I mentioned there was whether trees are evergreen or deciduous. So does everybody know what I mean when I say evergreen or deciduous? Don't? No? Okay. So evergreen trees are trees that keep their leaves all year round. So eucalypts, for example, yeah, they drop a few more leaves in preparation for summer than other seasons, but they maintain their leaves all year round. So pine trees, etc., will do that as well. They stay green the whole year round. Deciduous trees are typically trees from other countries. We do have some deciduous trees native to Australia, but primarily deciduous trees from other countries. Deciduous trees are trees that drop their leaves in wintertime and grow their leaves in summer. So it's essentially, in terms of water use and tolerance to harsh conditions, they're not as well suited to our climate. Hence, the species that dominate in Australia are evergreen trees. But it's fantastic from a I guess a landscaping and urban environment perspective, in that with your deciduous trees, they provide shade when you want shade, and then they lose their leaves in winter when you want to get lots of sun into your garden and into your building. So particularly on the northern side of buildings, it's a really good idea to use deciduous trees, because they provide that shading in summertime, but then allow sunlight to come straight through in wintertime. It can be a free form of, well, how to say it works well in terms of assisting with the passive solar design of your building. Other things we have to think about. Well, talking about the deciduous or evergreen once again. Think about evergreen trees; they don't drop as much leaf litter. When they drop leaf litter, it's dispersed throughout the whole year. They don't. It's not a big dump of autumn leaves, for example. But with your deciduous trees, you do have to think about those autumn leaves. Deciduous trees are not fantastic over car parks and things because there is this flurry of maintenance in that autumn period when they're dropping their leaves and when they're clogging up drains and there's lots of leaf litter, etc. With our site being right next to Paxton Walk that joins up with Vaughan Place, we probably don't want to have lots of large deciduous trees along that side dropping leaves onto the council's footpath in a major thoroughfare. Yeah, we probably also don't want deciduous trees in that car park. But there are pros and cons about it. That's not as bad as having them drop onto the council's footpath, etc. But certainly in front of the building, deciduous trees are a fantastic idea. And you can also think about the colour that those deciduous trees turn in autumn as well. So for your Manchurian pears and things, you've got some brilliant reds and Japanese maples. You get various different colours, and you get some really nice effects in that. So there's some some aesthetic benefits of some of the deciduous trees you can choose for that, particularly for that period as well. What have we got? Another thing about tree choices and selections are some of your natives, some of your eucalypt species do drop limbs, particularly during summertime. So what happens is the trees get stressed. They decide, okay, well, rather than the whole thing die, I'm just going to drop a limb. And so not particularly good in car parks either. Not particularly safe. And eucalypts are fantastic water pumps as well. They will pump a lot of water out of the soil. Great in some aspects, terrible in others, particularly when matched up with our clay soils here. So not particularly good for that. And then there are also some tree species that have roots close to the surface and will start lifting up paving in car parks. Also not particularly helpful as well. On that thing, it's good to use permeable paving where you can, particularly on a site like this, because it enables sort of essentially water capture and storage on site without any other major infrastructure, and it allows the water to get to the roots of the plants. There's a very noticeable difference between trees planted with permeable paving on top and non-permeable paving on top. So it's a fantastic way of being water sensitive and enabling like lush verdant vegetation on your site. Plenty of trees is a fantastic thing for reducing urban heat island effect. That's sort of more of a broader community consideration. It is so I mentioned the failures of eucalypts. One thing that is good about eucalypts or native Australian species are they are quite drought tolerant. So, but you can use that in your Botanic Gardens plant selector as well for looking for drought tolerant plants. And another consideration, one thing I would not like to see along that Paxton Walk are trees that are dense, that contain a lot of dead matter underneath as well. So some of your pines and things like that, because look, there are less people smoking cigarettes these days than there used to be, but it's one of those prime candidates for, for the potential for cigarette butts and things like that. We don't want to have lots of dead matter and tightly packed bushes and things. It also just collects rubbish, etc., and provides maintenance. So that's some considerations in your planting. There's a whole host of other aesthetic considerations, and you've certainly got plenty of free rein in regards to that. But one other consideration which doesn't always jump out is what's in the development plan as well. So go to page 38. Oh, I might have to enlarge that a little bit as well. So, environmental crime prevention through urban design. It's another important aspect of this development, that because we are, in this space which is adjacent a public thoroughfare, we've got lots of nightlife, we've got pubs and clubs and things in that area. It's one of those sort of key areas that you think, okay, it is important for crime prevention through urban design. And look, I guess we don't have a huge amount of time today to pour through this in detail. We've gone a little bit over. But you do have to think about that site security and the lines of sight and that passive surveillance possibility for your site for members of the public, just to ensure that there's no nefarious activities. Well, it reduces the chance of nefarious activities being carried out on the site, and also reduces the chance of people sitting and waiting for people to come along and and do all sorts of things. So you want to maintain very open undersides to your trees, so that it's and it sets it out in here, but I don't think I have time to pour through it step by step. So do that yourselves at home. I'll just identify this as an important bit to have a look at. So page 38. But in there it sets out that you should have plants to about 500 mil high and no higher, and then trees with an open with a canopy above and an open understory to, I forget what the height is, but what the council wants to see is that open middle section in your vegetation, so that we don't have those enclosed, or it doesn't block off visibility. So we have to maintain passive surveillance. There's a host of other aspects in here that don't necessarily relate to vegetation and landscaping, but that's the part that does. And I encourage you to have a look through here for other features to include or to think about in terms of your landscaping layout and building. Then we've got page 70. So just that, pretty much already mentioned already. So landscaping objective 55, water conserving landscaping that enhances the local landscape, creates a pleasant, safe, attractive living environment. So that's what we're aiming to achieve, and that's a fantastic little bit of, possibly you'd want to pull that out in your council consult to say, look, we are creating, using water conserving species landscaping that enhances the local landscape character and creates a pleasant blah blah blah. And then also another one, we won't dissect it here, but it's for you to probably many of you have already looked at that for in task 1 and task 2 is page 90, significant and regulated trees as well. So I think everybody's pretty much covered that that already, but there is the section on significant and regulated trees within the development plan. How we deal with them. If we're removing a significant tree, well then we have to replace that significant tree with something of equal value once fully grown. So it's not, that doesn't say we have to find a mature tree and bring in a mature tree of the same size to replace the one we're cutting down. It's about replacing the tree that we are removing with something that once it's grown to its full height will be a suitable replacement for. Very open-ended description, so that it doesn't say you have to replace for exactly the same species, blah, blah, blah. It says a tree of equal value.
Does equal value just mean, what does equal value
Exactly, and that's what I meant. It's incredibly open, and that could be argued. But if let's say we've got a really beautiful Moreton Bay fig tree, for example, we cut that down and then we bring in like a cocos palm or something like that. I think we'd have a very hard time arguing that they are of equal value.
I think that's the arborist, like we got the tree cut down,
Yep.
we have to replace it with 3 other native trees or something like that.
Is that what it says in the arborist report?
Oh, that was at my place, and the
Mhm.
arborist report said, it needs to be replaced with 3 native trees in my
Yeah.
case, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, keep it to what it says in the development plan for Adelaide City Council.
I am just saying maybe the
Yeah.
arborist can, maybe arborist is somebody who specifies that more.
Definitely, yeah. That may be. Yeah, and certainly if you have an arborist say, yeah, this is what those trees are equal. This is what is of equal value. Then, yeah.
It's still broad.
It's still very broad. Yeah, and the whole idea of like, definitely we attribute monetary value to trees. You see that in real estate prices. You live in a leafy street, prices there are significantly higher, but it's always been a very difficult thing to actually put a dollar value on trees. Very very convoluted thing. So that's why they use these broad terms within the development plan, because you've got to allow some flexibility. But yeah. And that's it. I'm sorry that was fairly quick and on the surface. So that would require some, particularly the looking through the section on prevention of crime through urban design. So have a look at that in detail yourself at home. But are there any questions? Any further questions?
Yeah, so
Yes.
you said earlier, because we're in the city, we want all our buildings, kind of at the front with a tall, because we can't do that with this project, should we try and chuck a really tall tree at the front to try and build,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, rather than tall tree singular, I think a row.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good way of being able to, to say to the council, look, we are continuing that face of buildings, but then we're also melding into the greenery that's happening in the Botanic Gardens, the greenery that's going to happen in the development across the road on the Botanic Hotel, etc. So you're saying we are being responsive to the architectural or landscaping language of the locality, and we are maintaining that city face to it this way. I think that's perfect approach. No more questions? Cool. Stop that one there.